about transition and change management, the most important thing for businesses at this point, we get a smaller audience, but thank goodness we have got quite a few people, I believe, online through our Zoom link, so that's wonderful. And of course, this will be recorded today, and we will have that posted as a link into the Expressway thinking group. Welcome everybody to Expressway. Lovely to see you here. Today we have got several speakers, so we'll move pretty quickly through it. Fortunately, we don't have a lot here, so our introductions won't take quite as long. I'm going to ask our illustrious past facilitator, Margaret, if you could come out here, because you're going to track everybody as we're going around. You can do it from where you are if you're more comfortable, that's no problem. Alright, so you'll track it. There won't be handling of wiring, there won't be handling of microphones, because Daryl's going to come around as he does with the microphone and ask each of you to introduce yourselves. So in that introduction, it will be a very brief who you are, what business you're with. If you have got any great news stories, awards, you've got the grant, you've raised capital, yeah, tell us about it. That's exciting. If you're a business consultant, we'd love to know who you are and what your business name is. Please don't spend the next 15 minutes trying to say business consulting, because you will get donged off. Now, it's a bit hard for me to do both the facilitation and the donging, but the moment I put down this microphone while you're doing the introduction, I'm going to go and get something that will make it loud and please dong if you go too long. Alright, so there's some rules there. A few other house rules. If we have to exit, the exit signs are there. Follow me, I'm the one who's running. If you haven't signed in on the COVID app, make sure you do so at first opportunity. Stay COVID safe. We acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, past, present and the futures. It's important that we do continue to do so, and we've got any Indigenous businesses with us today. We did last week at settled, so we certainly want to welcome them into this network and support them and all businesses to succeed. My name is Bill. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. I advance Queensland, and advance Queensland have been good enough to provide to us this wonderful facility, very precinct. We did a tour of this last meeting. If any of you haven't been through a tour, let me know to see if we can organise something. Probably not this meeting, maybe next meeting. Okay? Fantastic. So let's do the self-introductions, and because Margaret is down front there and is going to register everybody else, I'm going to ask Margaret to do the introduction first. You ready there now? Away we go.
I'm Margaret Aspen, and I am here today because the wonderful Small Business Solutions at TAFE Queensland is one of the partners, and I am the mentor for Moreton Bay and sort of north of here. I am building a house in Dabo and very much enjoying being a country person again, and that's about all I'm going to say.
For those who know Margaret, that's very good.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Richard Krista. I'm a philosopher. I'm founder of and author of the Facebook business page Ingenuity through Philosophy, where I've written on philosophy of creativity since 2009. I help businesses be more innovative through helping them learn how to create solutions. Hey! Helping them learn recipes for solving their problems. Thank you, Ian.
Hi everyone, I'm Jacqui Jones. I'm one of the speakers today, and I'm from Way We Do. And Way We Do is a web tech platform that helps organisations to grow in scale and to meet compliance obligations. So I look forward to sharing more of my story later.
see the speakers speaking to the audience. I fully encourage that. It is the truth. We've also got an audience on Zoom, so you can sort of after the camera and you can audience at the same time. There's up to you. Keep going.
We're focused on technology coming up water with a particular focus on environment.
I love it.
Good morning, I'm Ellis. I'm a consultant. I'm my own company called Black Sheep Consultant. I do consulting in healthcare and disability, and I'm not doing that. I direct a couple of universities.
Hi, my name's Jeff Lawrence. I am the owner and manager of BlackRock Solar Lighting. We specialise in commercial grade solar lighting from install right through to servicing. And I am the Queensland Power Branch champion for Taekwondo.
And also won some recent awards to tell us about.
Yeah, we've won some recent awards for small business development and technology design awards.
Well done.
Great.
Hi, my name's Luke Horner. I work with Jeff, and I'm a recent employee, and I'm trying to use my skills and my experience to make his business better. Thank you.
And welcome along, Luke.
My name is Adam Roberti, and I'm one of the two directors and shareholders of Kidata, along with Dave Keys. And Kidata is a data analytics company, a consulting company in Brisbane, and we basically help other businesses master the data so that they can make a better contribution and impact into the world. And very much interested in this workshop because we're gone from 3 people to 20 people in the past 4 years, and now we're trying to hit from 20 to 40 people as a growth phase, and I think this is the sort of workshop, and Andrew is extremely instrumental for that. So yeah, thanks for putting this together.
Exciting business.
Hi, my name's David Keys. I won't talk too much about what we do. Adam's already covered that. So a quick good news story. We got a call a couple of weeks ago from the Commonwealth Bank. They were after good news stories around COVID and the SMEG loans. So we put a business case together for using a SMEG loan to protect, pivot and expand our business. And we got coverage across most of the newspapers around Australia last Wednesday, including the Australian.
Well done. Fantastic.
Good morning, I'm Dr. Peter Ellis from your side of the partner. We work with organisations and businesses that feel that they're not organised enough, have problems with their management and are not as profitable as they'd like to be. I'll be talking today about that. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Hello, I'm Stephen Matisse from Your Business Optimised. We're a done-for-you marketing company. We work with e-commerce businesses mainly, and it's been actually quite a good couple of months for us. We've grown. One of the businesses sells masks, which happens to be very good. I'm also the president of the Brisbane Invoice Chamber of Commerce.
Well,
Good morning, Tim Bevan, IML Speakers Forum. We've been likened to a benign Toastmasters where we help our members to improve their public speaking skills in a mutually supportive environment, often evaluated by the likes of Ian. So if you're interested in learning, improving your public speaking skills in a friendly environment, come and see me.
it's a great opportunity to improve probably the most important business skill that you will have, the ability to communicate to your customers, to your investors, to your board, to your staff. And we work through any scenario that you want through the Speakers Forum to help you to improve your ability to communicate, and it's done in a very safe, friendly environment. So have a chat with Tim.
news story is our new number plate recognition process has improved the efficiency of repossessing cars by over 90% Australia-wide, which pleases the finance teams.
Well done, I think.
We've had a good news story for.
Most people don't know.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Faker. I'm the founder of Satellite Schools. We're a wellbeing provider for schools. I'm excited to say we're piloting our first EdTech product across primary schools locally at the moment, and hopefully we take it to market next year.
That's very exciting.
Yeah,
Why
it's been
don't you
a
talk about
long journey because previous to COVID I was on site and I've had to do a complete transformation in the last 18 months. It's been quite a challenge, but we've done that.
Well, that's the subject of today because there are so many businesses that have had to make this word pivot they have.
Popular word, right?
Now they've got to manage the change.
Hi, I'm Tony Harcourt, the CEO and co-founder of Workgroup, which is a job management and stock control platform for SMBs, particularly in the manufacturing space. We received an Ignite Ideas grant about this time last year, and the good news story is that we've just hit cash flow positivity and keep growing.
Fantastic. Well done. That's terrific news. I love it. How are you going with catching the names there, Margaret? Getting hold?
Pretty well, I think. There's one person I'll go up to after.
That's right. Okay. Thank you very much, Darryl.
Good morning, everyone. My name is David. I'm the founder of a company called Smart Lab, which is a literacy and numeracy mathematics diagnostic and learning platform. Good news story. We rolled out Smart Lab to schools, and we just hit our 55th school in Australia using Smart Lab after a year. It's pretty exciting times.
That is exciting. It's interesting how at EXPRESSWAY we get businesses arrive that have synergies, and it's amazing how getting those people together, they are able to find better ways of doing business with their products. I hope you have a word or do so later.
We are developing consulting as an online service to transform businesses.
That's it. Thanks, mate. And Darryl, please introduce yourself and your team, if you will, please.
Give you a big hand to Steve. So while you're introducing yourself, you'll be looking through our list to try and find your name in there. So I think we got most of them this time, Steve.
Oh,
wow, you got the important one, right?
Oh, John's just arrived back here. Well, go introduce yourself and your good wife who's up the back there, mate.
You go first. Oh, okay. John Hebrard, I'm from TAFE, Queensland. I represent the department that trains business people, whether it be at the commercial or small business. And we provide specific tailored solution for depending on the current challenges of a business. But of course, in this fast-changing world that we're in, we can never know too much or learn too much. But above all else, what we also do as part of our training is to introduce people to networks. And we run through workshops, our deliveries mostly, and quite often you get people that form relationships that become very, very successful from a business point of view. So next to me, of course, I've got Margaret Aspen, who's one of our esteemed mentors, and we look forward to giving you some information on what we do. Thank you.
And thank you, John. Of course, John does represent Take Small Business Solutions, who, along with Regional Development Australia and Brisbane, are a part of the marketing group that was on EXPRESSWAY. EXPRESSWay itself is not an incorporated association, it is a meet-up group, and it depends on the support and goodwill of John and Nagaraj and the team at RDA to continue to hold these meetings, but this does belong to you, so we want your input as much as possible. We certainly want your contribution in the subject matter that you want to hear about, and most importantly, we want you to connect with each other and support each other. Now, Darryl got halfway through his team. He still left out the most important member of the team, not Darryl, of course, he's a good wife, Beth, up the back there. Hello, Beth. Beth's always up there doing coordination of the Zoom meeting. This way, Beth. Thank you. Darryl, if you can just say a little bit about Beth.
Yeah, while Steve is just showing Beth off, our business is called Darbeth. We deal with your business tech and communications. We're a one-stop shop that covers everything to do with communications for a business. Most people understand that we do video work, particularly live streaming, but we do the whole shop. So starting from getting the networking right all the way through. So just you've got one butt to kick just to make sure everything goes right, instead of trying to coordinate a number of people to get your comms working. Steve and I were doing a funeral yesterday, weren't we? And it was organised in 24 hours. We didn't get the order of service until about 5 minutes before it was started, and we were given 3 videos, which is a story in itself. And we looked in the order of service, we could only find 2 videos listed. And as we were trying to find where the third one was, they actually started the service, and what they start with? The missing video. So, that was the fun and games that we had. Anyway, I think it's over to...
Now, let's see who we've got in Zoom world, if we can, Stephen, allow the Zoom participants to introduce themselves. I see a Sissy there. She wants to be last. Okay, well, we'll put Sissy last. If you could please turn on your video so that we can see you as well as hear you, that would be excellent. Mr. Curtis, you there? No, we don't seem to have anybody who's wanting to come online, is that right?
Jill, do you want to come on? Debs.
Hi.
Oh, there we go. We've got somebody come on. Is that Jill Gray? Hello,
That's Jill Gray. That's right. Yes. Been a long time.
Turn the volume. Hang on a sec, Jill. We just need to adjust the volume here. Okay. Okay. Jill.
Yes. Hi, Ian. Nice to see you again. It's been a long time. But I'm working with the Department of Employment, Small Business and Training, and we're providing support to small businesses, particularly around mentoring and business grants and things of that nature. So we're keen to connect with businesses and support in any way we can.
We're delighted to have you with us.
Thank you.
Ruama, you want to speak?
Hi everyone, my name is Ruhama. I am actually not in Queensland at the moment. I'm based in Adelaide. I'm a student and I'm interning with Sissy actually at Grow and Sell Your Biz. And this is my first time attending Expressway. So I'm probably going to be more of a silent observer and just listening to everybody and taking in as much as I can. Yeah.
Thanks for attending. My pleasure. Hi. Hi, Ian. I can't see you anymore, but it's fine. Do you want me to do an intro myself? Hi, I can see you now. Great. Sorry, I couldn't be here today. I was actually doing a risk assessment with one of my clients, putting in the Modern Manufacturing Initiative grant application from the federal government. It's a $100 million project, so I was multitasking just now. That's why I wasn't, I said, oh, can I be last? But we finished that just now, which is great. Yeah. So I'm Sissy Ma. I'm the founder and I guess the managing director of Grow and Sell Your Biz. I help scaling businesses find investors and increase their valuation multiples and exit, obviously. And we actually, so Ruhama is one of my interns.
actually facilitated through Torrance University, and that came out of the Expressway. So that's why I invited her in here to complete the full circle. So yeah, thank you for that. Looking forward.
Let's get ready. Deb. Deb, you ready?
Okay, well look, it's getting on in time. We're running just a little bit behind time already, but that's fine. We'll catch that up. It's a great opportunity to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker, being Boy Scout, being well organised, did hand me some notes because he wanted a very exact. And I'm not introductions, so I'll just say it off the top of my head. I've known Peter Ellis for a lot of years, Dr. Peter Ellis it is, because he has several doctorates, and he's also, over the last 25 years, been working with small to medium businesses, helping them through their challenges. He's been a mentor for the Mentoring for Growth program. He does a lot of coaching, and he's got some really, really interesting theories that he's worked on to do his doctorates that I'm sure you are going to be delighted to hear today. Speaking on business transition, please welcome Dr. Peter Ellis.
Okay, good morning everybody. My name is Dr. Peter Ellis. Company's called Your Silent Partner for the last 25 years. I've been working with organisations from start-up through to government where they feel that their management, their organisation or their profitability is not what they think it should be. In order to improve that work that I've been doing, I've done a little studying, so I have a Master's in Strategy, a Doctorate in Education, and a PhD in Business Development and Growth. Now, one of the things that I'm going to talk over in just 10-12 minutes is the PhD bit, which I think you'll find quite interesting. Essentially, what happens, consultants are fine, consultants are very important, you need consultants, all right? So I'm not rubbishing them, I'm just saying you need them. However, if you have a consultant who's going to grow your business, it's a worry because that doesn't necessarily consolidate the whole business, it just works in one area. And what happens is when you're developing the business, you're in your comfort zone, but the problem with being in your comfort zone is it's hard to get out of it because you don't know where you're going. So what I do, the way that I work with people, is that when they're in the comfort zone, we talk about the fear zone that they go through, which everyone goes through, and what they have to learn, but the important part of what they're doing is going towards becoming in a position where they're in a new comfort zone. So they know when they start where they're going to get to. And if they know where they're going to get to, it's much easier to get there. Now, one of the problems that people have with their business is they understand that they have to do various things. They understand they have to have business planning and skills and so on and so forth. But what is not shown and is not done is the fact that all these small pieces of a jigsaw come together and are very important, because if you don't have them all together, you're going to have problems. And this is what I'm going to show you. Now, in order to manage a business properly, each element, there's 5 elements that you have to consider, and each one of those 5 elements you have to work through a mindset for. So mindset is not one of the elements. Mindset is how you approach business. Whatever you do, whether it's sales, PR, marketing, whatever, the mindset has to be the first thing you do, because you've got to know what you're doing, why you're doing, and so on. So the first criteria that has to be looked at is your business plan and the view, the direction you're going in. The second are the skills that are required for a business. Now that's really important. So what you see here are 2 personal aspects of your business. And you'll understand them and you know about them. And that's fine. You then have to look at the operation of the business, the processes and procedures, and the action plan. Now, what happens is that each of these things are very, very important, and they all encompass many of the other things that are looked at. But if you've got all these things, then you will have a nice, steady business that you'll be able to work with. And everything will be fine with your customers. But the problem is that as you grow and develop your business, you have to grow and develop all those 5 criteria, and that's what I'm going to show you in a minute. And now I'm going to show you what happens if any one of them is missing. If you haven't got a plan, or it's inadequate, there's going to be uncertainty in your business. If you don't have skills, there's going to be incompetence in your business. If you don't have operation structure, there's going to be issues and conflict within your business. Without processes and procedures, there's exasperation, because you do one thing with one person, something else with someone else, no one knows where they stand. And if you haven't got an action plan or a culture within your business, then you're going to be leaderless. What I'm showing you is this. If any one of those criteria is missing from your business, you will have problems with your business. So when you're building your sales, or you're looking into your marketing, or you're looking at your HR, you have to consider it with all those other elements as part of your plan. You don't just go in and sell stuff. You don't just employ someone else. You have to have all those things. Now, having said that, I'm going to show you what happens when you grow and develop, because at each stage of growing and developing, you need to have all those 5 elements in some way. Now, with a micro business, you're the only person. There's only one person who's doing that, and they have to do everything. They have to have the passion and the focus and the attitude in their mindsets, in their plans and their views. They've got to have the skills that are necessary to run a business. They've got to be able to know how to do the actual technical work. They've got to be able to manage it, and so on and so forth. And it's only a simple business with one dimension, because you're doing it all yourself. So essentially, with a micro business, that's basically all you have to do. You just got to get on with it. But if you want to increase your business, and it's very important to understand that very many people only want to go to a particular stage. Not everyone wants to become a medium-sized business. Not everyone wants to have hundreds of staff. A lot of people just want to grow a little bit more than they are. So when you want to grow a little bit more, you need to change your view. You have to unfreeze your mindset, reevaluate what's going on, and then set the mindset for the new size you're going to be. You've got to reevaluate what skills are necessary. Now this is what's called micro plus. It's when you go to network meetings, when you go out to send flyers, when you do a bit of advertising, because you're not satisfied with just sitting there and waiting for people to walk into your shop. You don't necessarily have to change your structure or your processes and procedures, you're just increasing what you're doing. Now, if you then decide that that's not good enough and you want to be a small business, you don't just hire more people to sell stuff or make stuff or sell stuff. You have to do a number of things. You have to actually understand what the new activities are that are required for that business. You have to replan, change your mindset for the plan and the view of where you are. You've got to reevaluate what skills are necessary within your business. You have to have a look and see what the management. I'm not telling. I haven't got time to go into the details, so that's why I've just put change or no change. All these things have to be looked at and considered. This is not something that would take you years to do. Take an hour or two to have a look and see where you're going, what you want to do, what your final thing is. And it's very possible that I have like a one-page business plan where you decide what to do, what's going to be done, when it's going to be done, how it's going to be done, who's going to do it, when it's going to be done. And that's just on one sheet of paper. So it's not that difficult to do. So that's where that stage is, and then you become a small business. And when you become a small business, not only do you have to do that, but you have to incorporate something which prevents most people becoming small businesses. And that is, they don't know how to let go. Now, letting go there's a theory of letting go, and in that theory it explains that you don't just give people a job to do and let them do it. That's why the majority of people who think they're small businesses are actually stuck in between micro and small, because they don't know how to manage developments and manage people to allow them to do things while still being in control of them. So letting go, there's 4 parts to it. The first 2 parts are allowing people to do things within criteria, within KPIs, and also when you're doing that, letting them know that you're a manager and not just one of the lads. Your technical and management personnel skills have got to grow. So as you see here, the number of activities that go on in your business significantly increase. And as they significantly increase, you see that if you're going to manage it properly, you can't do it all yourself. And that's part of your plan and part of the way of thinking. How can you organise and manage it without having to do it yourself? And again, I can't go into it because of time. But some people who have got their small business set out, they then want to increase it. But they don't want to become a medium-sized business with departments and international and stuff. They just want to be somewhat bigger than they are. And when you do that, once again, you must unfreeze your mindset, reevaluate where you're going, decide what you're going to do. Then you say, right, now I need someone to help with communication, I need someone to help with sales, I need someone to help with marketing, because this is what I've decided to do. You don't necessarily need to change the structure and the organisation of it, whereas the ad hoc is where you only make decisions when you've got to make them, but you do need to change your plan, you do need to change your view, you do need to assess the skills that are required. But if you want to go into becoming a medium-sized business, that is a totally, completely different kettle of fish. It is nothing like a micro business. It is nothing like a small business. The only reason it's included when they say micro, small and medium is because it's owned by one owner or 2 owners rather than by a board. But you have to change every aspect of the business. You have to departmentalise. You have to make sure that people understand what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it. You've got to make sure that everything is set out in a certain way, and that you have managers, and that you don't micromanage your managers. In fact, when you go to be a small business, part 2 of the letting go is understanding how to manage managers, understanding how to listen to managers, and understanding how to work with managers. The technical management and personal skills change because you're a manager of managers. You're not actually on the shop floor so much, and you have to change a number of elements that you're doing. Each one of those things have to be changed, which I can go through and explain to you when you're doing it. As you can see, there's a huge amount of activity that goes on when you're a medium-sized business. You can't do it all yourself. And that is what causes a lot of stress and problems within people who think they're medium-sized businesses, but try and get everyone to them, and they're running around and they are stressed to the max. It's a very, very difficult thing, and they have to understand and learn what's going on so that they can manage the business and actually do it. Because when you're owning a medium-sized business, you're in management. You have to plan, organise, lead and control, not do. Okay, so, very, very quickly then, a micro business, the definition of micro business that I'm putting forward is that it's a business that there's one income generator. That income generator does everything. They may have some people helping them. If they're a dentist with a nurse and a hygienist and a receptionist, if the dentist isn't there, there's no business. So it's one person who's generating the money. When you're getting bigger, it's the same business, but there are a number of other things that are going on. You're increasing your the clientele that you're getting, but that's all you want to do, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, as you can see, 85% are micro. Only 2% are satisfied to go to the next stage, and these are people who are still micromanaging. Now, this is particularly interesting because essentially it's thought that about 9.5% are small businesses, but of those 9.5%, 5% are stuck. 5% are there where you have people. There's a wellness centre I know where the owner brings in 75% of the income, and the other 20%, and the other 20 people bring in 25% of the money. A doctor's surgery, I cut a few out, just a financial advisor is bringing in $1 million a year, and he's got three other financial advisors, each one only bringing in 100,000. It's costing them money to have a business, but they don't understand that, and they don't realise what should or shouldn't be done. A small business is one where you have a number of income generators, and the manager and the owner is the person that is organising that. Still doing the work of organising to make sure that the dentists do what they're supposed to do, the doctors do what they're supposed to do, the accountants do what they're supposed to do, and so on. A small plus is the same thing where they have increased sales, but they don't want to become a medium business. A medium business then, medium plus, that is moving into medium minus, is where you start to put the elements together. The problem that you usually have with that is, again, micromanagement is going past the managers and telling them that the people, don't listen to the manager, I'm the boss. That's really bad. And finally, a medium is only 1%. So the small is only 5%, medium's 1% of that 10%. So the rest of those people, the rest of those businesses are stuck in between. And it's the area that they're stuck in between, which is where I help them. So what you have to understand is that medium, micro, small and medium are not the only sizes of businesses. There are two areas of transition that you go to before you get to them if you do it properly and simply and easily. My name's Dr. Peter Ellis. Those are my details. I'd be happy to talk to you.
Thank you, Peter. And while we're setting that up for our next speaker, we will certainly bring you up a little later for a Q&A if we can. That would be fantastic. Did anybody learn anything, Peter? I mean, I did a few degrees in my time, and masters in business, etc., and I probably sat through 100 hours of lectures to get what we got out of Peter in the last 15 minutes, because it's so simple. You got that set up, mate? So, look, again, if you would please put your hands together for Peter. I think that would Peter's put his hands together. He's not shy. No worries at all. We're fortunate to have the quality of speakers speakers here at Expressway. These speakers come along in their own time. We're not paying them to do that, but they're passionate about what they do. And look, I hope you do talk to them because each of them can help your business. Our next speaker is certainly no exception to that. Our next speaker has been helping businesses, supporting through government and the private sector for the past 25 years, and I've certainly known for a few years, quite a few years now, through various connections, including assessment of grants and through mentoring and coaching. It's a great pleasure for me today to introduce to you Christina Dean. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you very much, Bill. Technology, isn't it, lovely? It's lovely when it works, isn't it? Alrighty. Have a good work. Oh, you need to do video. Okay. So you saw who I am. I'm Christina Dean. I'm Managing Director of a small business called Uniforte. Uniforte means strength in unity. And the big deal about unity these days is that we've all seen and heard a lot about we're in this together. It's interesting because I developed the word Uniforte in 2004 when I realised after working in law for so many years that nothing happens unless it all happens together. So that became my specialisation. So the type of business that I run is a business and coaching business. I have in the past been a management consultant like Peter. And in 2009, I decided that what I needed to do now was to develop some learning and development materials in organisational change management. So I wrote a book on the Australian National Competency Standards and the first diploma of Australia of organisational change management. So I've become an educator. And that naturally led me to 10 years of teaching. And now what we do is that we're coaches, because guess what? I like working online. And I can work very, very well with people online. So I have clients all around Australia and New Zealand. So our mission is to build strong, firm and stable businesses that can change as fast as the world around you. And I dare say that we all need to know how to do that these days. So these are some of our clients in the past, and some of the students that I have talked to you about a moment ago. They've become graduates and they have become transformation heroes in these particular organisations. So, you know, what I've done is to teach them how to do it, and they've gone off to do it. So, now, what I've heard say about change, and what I've come to tell you today, is very much about how do you manage change? What is change and how do you actually manage it? It's one thing to say you need to get from here to here, but how do you do that? And that is a very long bridge. And so, I've heard it said by some staff that when you work for some people, it's like being a horse in a chariot race, and a lot of people get injured. And so that became probably the thing that I wanted to see most of all, that it would stop. And one of the interesting parts about that is that there is going to be one key message that I have for you at the end of this session, that if you take it away, it will guide your thinking into the future. And I'm going to tell you what it is at the end, because it all makes sense then. Everything Peter has said to you, and everything that the following speakers will say to you will all make sense when you just have this one particular piece of information. It's just one, so it's going to be really easy for you to put it on your mirror somewhere and just go, am I doing this or am I doing that? And it's just a mindset. So let's roll. So what is change management is there's going to be a video now. I'm going to share this with you, and this video is by the Change Management Institute. Many of my students have become members of the Institute, and they've developed a lot of these materials, so I hope that you'll find this very interesting. Better than me waffling on for ages, you can watch this great video. You can also see it again. Ian asked me to share some resources with you. So if you go to the Change Management Institute, you'll be able to see these videos at your own leisure. So as we just get going here, it's only 2 minutes and 58 seconds long. It's followed by another video about what does a change manager do. Here we go. I'll just step away. We're just going to stop the video till we get the sound up.
Would you like to do an interpretive dance or something?
Well, I have got this really long scarf, but you know.
Oh, very well done indeed. That's fantastic.
Change management doesn't have to be really boring, and it doesn't have to be really hard. You just have to do it together. And, you know, this what we're doing right now is we're doing it on the fly. This is change management. This is change management 101. When you have a problem, what do? You sort it out together. And I know we're going to get there shortly. Otherwise, I'm going to have to sing and tap and dance for 2 minutes and 58 seconds. Okay. Well, it should be going after that. All right, well, I am going to have to come over here and kind of do something with you that I wasn't prepared for, but I will do anyway. So, if we look at, I don't suppose you have a pointer, do you? Do you happen to have a pointer that I can alight?
It's on the pointer.
You've got a light pointer?
In your hand.
In your hand.
Okay.
Right, let's stop.
It's not a very strong pointer.
No, it's not a very strong pointer. I'm going to have to, can we continue? Can you try to get the next video up so we don't have the same problem with the second one as well? Okay, well, so here we have, in the middle, you've got 2 people up there. Yep. See them? And change starts one person at a time. And then you multiply it into a team. And then you roll it out to your business. And the key to it is always to do it together. So whenever, look, perfect example, CFMEU. You've seen all the 2,000 people really cranky and upset about having to go and get a flu shot, a jab. I mean, we don't think twice about going and getting an annual flu shot, do we? No. And so, but there's this big drama now about, I don't want to have a jab, I don't want to have a jab. And that is typical. And when you see that happening, it's simply because people haven't made up their mind about it themselves. It's number one. When people haven't had the opportunity to make up their mind about something themselves, they will resist. And that is perfectly normal, because the reason why that's perfectly normal is because if they didn't do that, there'd be something emotionally wrong with them. They would be emotionally unwell, they would have mental health problems. Because if I simply said to you, look, I want you to run up and down those stairs until I get sick of watching you, you probably wouldn't do that. You would want to know why. And if it wasn't a good reason, you would probably say, not happening, lady. And that's really normal and very healthy. But when you're a CEO of a business, sometimes you can tend to think to yourself, well, I'm paying their wages, I'll just tell them to run up and down those stairs and do what I tell them to do until I want them to stop. And that actually doesn't work very well. And how are we going with this? Is there any chance that this might happen? No?
I'm working with it.
So it starts with one person, and then it has to be 2 people. A director of Boeing said to me once, he said, I asked him, I said, how do you know when it's time to make a change at Boeing? He said, that's a good question. He said, what I do, he said, I go and visit them all, I go and visit my team, wherever they might be, and I might have a couple of ideas about some things that I want to see changed. And he said, and then I'll have the same conversation with all of them. He said, then I'll wait. And within about 3 months, I'll start to see proposals coming back from various parts of the business. He said, and when I get 3 proposals, and they all look and sound and feel like they have the same flavour to them, then we go with it. He said, so all up, it usually takes about 5 or 6 months from the time that I think of, well, I'm having a shave in the morning, to getting them to come back to me with a proposal of how we're going to do it. Isn't that clever? As CEOs of organisations, that's the mindset we need to go with, because people hate change. It's really normal for them to hate change. And, you know, we didn't enjoy going home to have to work from home, and we haven't enjoyed being at home because now you're stuck with all of those people that you go to work for, so you don't have to see them until you get home late from work and you do it all over again the next day. And then, you know, it goes like that, doesn't it? So managing change is not an easy thing, but it's one person at a time. Manage one person at a time, then you can engage the other person. Hey, look, this is not going so bad. We can get this done. And so, you know, we have all sorts of changes. You've got changes to your detour. I'm facing a change here today. I find that the older I get, Murphy seems to follow me more closely than he used to, and I wish to hell I knew his address because I'd send him out a fella and fix him up. But it doesn't happen, you know, and Murphy will visit you all the time too. But you just have to keep going. So now you've got technology changes, which is what we're having a problem with today. Technology. Let me tell you something about technology. Some people might not like this, but technology is a fancy pencil that people use to get things done with. It's not about the technology. It's about what it allows customers to do with the technology. So, and I haven't made too many friends in some IT big programs where they've spent $80 million and they've been going for $4 million for 4 years, and they've had 57 people all earning $100 an hour and haven't delivered a single thing. They don't like to hear that because they think it's about the technology. It's not about the technology. It's about what technology enables us to do. So if we're prioritising technology, we need to just remember where it belongs. It is the servant of the organisation. It is not the head of the organisation. So be mindful of that. It connects finances and people and human resource management, and it connects all your business processes and your procedures, etc., and it connects your marketing, etc., etc. It is the servant of the people whom you have engaged in your organisation to drive it forward. So remember, that's where it belongs. It's not at the head of the list, it's at the bottom. It is the servant of the organisation. So, if you can get it to do that, that'll be very good. Let me see. I've probably gone through an awful lot more here than what I needed to go through. But effectively, I would ask you to, when you can, go online, put this into your phone now. It's at Change Management Institute. I'll just wait while you do that. Put it into Change Management Institute so that you can, yeah, great, take a picture. So you can go and see this video for yourself. I'm sorry it didn't work out today, but it is what it is. So now we're going to move on to the next one, which is about what do change managers do. Maybe we'll be able to get some sound this time.
As organisations constantly evolve, it can sometimes be a little overwhelming trying to handle all the changes. You might have a single change for a defined group of employees or customers, perhaps as a result of a project. Maybe you want to achieve transformational change, such as a significant shift in your business model, which involves identifying and managing multiple strands of change together. Or maybe you want to build internal organisational capability to better manage and adapt to the constant volume of change. This is where change managers come into play. Change managers are experts when it comes to change. They have a specialised yet diverse set of skills and tools, and often use a structured, agile or iterative approach to define, plan and manage change. Depending on the need, they can be an internal change consultant engaged to support your leaders and people with the change, an organisational development professional, a leader or a middle manager charged with the responsibility to bring about a change, or a team leader who gets people excited about the change. Change managers understand that every organisation is different and the importance of the context in which change is delivered. As such, they will often adapt their approach and solution to meet your specific change needs. They can articulate your current state and what your organisation will look like. Explore who is affected by the change, how the change will be felt, and how to sustain the end result. Establish and facilitate change networks to involve and engage those impacted including effective communication, coaching, training, monitoring and support when the rubber hits the road, and help you prepare for the change, increase adoption and transition to a new way of working. When it comes to implementing change, big or small, change managers play an important role in ensuring the benefits you set out to achieve are realised and are key to success. The Change Management Institute is all about supporting our members and our community to strengthen capability, enhance credibility, and to be better connected. To learn more about our competency framework and the skills and abilities you need to be able to define, plan and manage change, get in touch with us today.
Or in Jeopardy next time. Christina, we might get you to point it up.
Yep, I will try. If we can just get to the next slide, I will try to do that. All right, so this hasn't been... Okay, right. So what I'd like you to do is, the last sentence that I wanted you to take away, this important key sentence that I wanted you to take away with you, was very much about, I can tell you a story. It's short, but it really brings it home. My son is an electronic and computer engineer. He has his own business, and every Saturday morning we have a chat. And on this one Saturday morning, he got on the phone and he said, you know, the house renovation just isn't going the way that I wanted to. You know, I'm now going to have to reschedule everything. Catherine didn't get the this, that and the other organised, and she didn't clean out these cupboards, and the kids haven't organised their stuff, and so I've now got to reschedule everything. And he was really quite cross, and I said, David, you sound really quite cross. I said, mate, tell me, are you doing this change to them or for them? Now, in 37 years, I've never heard David stuck for words. So he said, oh, look, I'm really busy now. I'll have to go. I'll see you later. So he called me back on the Tuesday, and he said, I just rang to tell you that that question that you asked me on Saturday morning was worth having you as my mother. What was that? He said, you asked me, was I doing this renovation to the family or for the family? And he said, and since then I've been eating humble pie every day. He said, but I've also completely transformed how we engage with our customers. It's no longer me telling them what they need to do. It's about me listening to how they want to live and how I can help them get that. So for you, my one takeaway for you is that the minute that you think about managing a change in your organisation, if you can please just think to yourself, now, this is how I want to get it done, but am I going to do it to them or for them? If you do it to them, I promise you it'll cost you a great deal of money. It'll never happen. But if you do it for them, recognising that they are what makes your organisation work, then you will realise that it'll be a lot easier to do, it'll be a lot cheaper to do, and guess what? You'll become a hero for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Christina. And look, there was just so much information to be had, all of which was of immense value. But even if you just went away with those last few words of wisdom, you have got a gem from today. And that was brilliant. We appreciate that immensely, Christina. Please give Christina another round of applause. And with change management demonstrated throughout the presentation. And we appreciate that too. Isn't it fun technology? But we're not going to have technology problems for the next speaker, because the next speaker is here to actually tell you about a new business. And he has put an enormous effort. Our speaker has been for the last few meetings, in fact, several months of meetings of the IML Speakers Forum to help get support. He has been practicing it, he has been working through it, and you've got to give immense credit to our speaker. Talking about ingenuity in change management and business, please welcome Richard.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Ian. I acknowledge the first owners. My name's Richard Krista. I'm a philosopher and founder of the Facebook business page since 2009, where I write on the philosophy of practical creativity. So not to be intimidated, we're all philosophers to some degree or other. And just ingenuity through philosophy is about helping you become more aware and in control of those processes. So, my business card, I think 2009, around that time, I had the brilliant the flash of inspiration, the brilliant idea, the eureka moment, the aha moment, you would call it what you like. Ingenuity through philosophy came out of the mind of a smiling Southern Cross, which is my logo, and inspired by the vision of Bob Hawke, or by Bob Hawke, my inspiration to have a vision for a clever Australia through the power of applied philosophy, which I hope you can learn a little bit about today. So the philosophical question, which I'll be returning to a few times in this talk: how does a human mind give birth to brilliant ideas, to inspirations, to create solutions to our business problems? Inspirations, eureka moments, aha moments. One of the most famous in history was, you may have heard, the Greek philosopher and mathematician Archimedes jumped out of the bath and ran stark naked into the street, saying, "Eureka! I have found it." So he found the solution to his problem. So we're all familiar with those experiences, and maybe after this talk is done and dusted, maybe the solution is just enjoy a bath more often. So my pathway to commercial reality, I have to thank my university mentor, Professor Graham Priest, quite famous in the field of logic, the Expressway Innovation Business Network here, thanks for giving me the opportunity to present, the Department of Tourism, Innovation and Sport, and the IML Speakers Forum, and I'm greatly indebted to all of these, especially the Speakers Forum, and you know through Ian what it's about, so very supportive, great, really professional speakers and evaluators. I would call them philosophers of speaking. So, first there was Apple Computer, now there's Apple Core of creativity. Core, I invented the acronym CORE, C-O-R-E, to describe the processes of creativity, the processes in a cycle of organic creativity. C, for conceptualisation of a problem and its solution, and this is a really tricky one, you know, creating a seed idea out of choosing a number of ideas and connecting them and creating a seed idea. So the other is organisation for and realisation of that solution. Then I'm going to give an example today from a design company called IDEO. I'm not going to go into much more detail, but IDEO is an example of this basically the process of conceptualisation. Organisation for realisation of and enjoyment of the fruits of our labours, I think, the most important. So necessity is the mother of invention. What are the processes that convert necessity into reality? My model uses the processes in nature for how the human mind creates solutions to problems. For example, the processes of conception of physical life are a model for the processes of conceptualisation of ideas in the mind. It's no accident of the similarity between the words concept and conceptualisation. So this is a summary of what I'm about to speak about, the answer to the question. Now the question, it's a fascinating philosophical question about the origin of ideas in the human mind. Professor John Arnold, he asked precisely this question in the 1950s. He was from Stanford University. Not only was he a mechanical engineer, he was a psychologist and a philosopher. His answer to the question gave birth to the disciplines of creative engineering and design thinking. So there's a gap in the marketplace between creating your solutions yourself and paying a design company like IDEO, who were one of the first to adapt design thinking for business. And not unsurprisingly, IDEO were graduates of Stanford University. So Ingenuity through philosophy fills the gap between creating solutions yourself and paying a design company. There's a gap in the marketplace for knowledge about, practical knowledge about defining problems and creating solutions to them. So that first step, defining problems, is extremely important. Peter spoke examples of that with change management. So one of IDEO's first problems was to create a computer navigation device for Apple that's cheaper and more reliable than any other on the market. So they became famous in 1980 for developing the first computer mouse that was both usable and manufacturable. So IDEO's overarching philosophy of design is, you'll see here, that's not on the slide. So IDEO's overarching philosophy of design is that enlightened trial and error by a team of experts succeeds over the plannings of a lone genius. So ideally we want a team of geniuses who learn to socialise. So, in conclusion, you too can give birth to brilliant ideas, which you've all experienced before, have more aha moments, more eureka moments, through learning the processes of design thinking yourselves. Knowledge is power. Knowledge about the processes of design thinking will give you the power to be more effective in solving your business problems. I call you to action, to visit my Facebook business page and learn more. I challenge you to learn to be more creative and innovative in all areas of your life. Come and learn the principles of design thinking from Ingenuity through philosophy. This is a summary of today's talk, and you're welcome to have a copy of any information. And so just, if you want to contact me, you can book a free 1-hour consultation to discuss any problems you might have. So, thanks to EXPRESSWAY Innovation Forum, I hereby launch my business, Ingenuity through philosophy.
Thank you very much for that, Richard. And it is wonderful to see a creative business. creative business. Still got it? No? Yes? Can you hear me? No, it's not. Yeah, I know. And some people say they wish they couldn't. There you go. Yeah, that's better. All right. Thank Richard again. That's a really big effort. He was terribly nervous, but we've heard him work on this presentation, and I've got to say that was by far and a long way the best outcome we could have had for it. That was really well done. Thank you, Richard. Well done. Our next speaker, look, brilliant business, brilliant presenter, because I have heard our presenter present before, and an exciting business. And I always love the case studies, because the case studies are real warts and all stories about how a business has come into being, has grown, the challenges along the way, the brick walls that have had to be negotiated, go through, under or over, and it helps us to learn so much. It puts us in a position of realising that we're not the only one who goes through a struggle. Now, this is a business that has faced adversity and come out shining on the other side. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome Jacqui Jones with, boy, we did.
Hi everyone, I'm Jacqui Jones. I'm the founder of Way We Do, and so Ian asked me to talk about a warts and all story. And when I come to some of these ACE Forum sessions, it does feel like an AA meeting for startups. So that's why I'm saying it's been 7 days since my last pitch. The agenda today, I'm going to talk about 5 things about Way We Do, so you know what Way We Do is, and then I'll focus on some of the challenges that we have faced. I did have a third section, but I realised it was too long, so I've actually cut that out. So today it's just really just focusing on Way We Do and our challenges. So what is Way We Do? Way We Do is an enterprise governance, risk and compliance and a RegTech platform, and it's built upon business process management and digital process automation principles. So essentially, our customers use our platform for training, workflow. They may use it as a workflow assistant with other tools they use, and they use it for auditing purposes. And the whole primary purpose of using Way We Do is about driving accountability in the organisation and to create transparency around the activities that team members work upon. We also automate quality, compliance and governance activities. And essentially, Way We Do does not replace other tools that companies and organisations work with, but we in fact work with those. So Way We Do integrates with over 2,000 web applications to help us automate processes between the Way We Do platform and these other tools. But essentially, Way We Do focuses upon people, principles and process. So we're essentially the outside layer that helps your team optimise the resources that they use within your organisation. And just to give you a quick screenshot of what Way We Do looks like, so this is an example of an activated checklist in Way We Do. So on the left-hand side is an example of a process. So normally a business process is documented in a swim lane diagram, but we've presented it in a checklist format to make it really easy for people to use and understand. So we have steps of the process on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side we have the instructions or the procedure on how to do that work. So we're combining knowledge in context of the step that person is working upon. This slide here actually comes from BDO school for a CEO school for startups. I did that program over a 12-month period. And if you ever get a chance to do this program, it's an excellent course to do. And so from the data provided, they went through the different stages of a business, going from startup all the way to scale and exit. And at each stage, what the revenue is, the company value, number of team members. And the area or the line that I was particularly interested in was the number of formal systems. And like Richard said, you have these aha moments, and my aha moment was, oh, okay, you need to have these management systems in place in order to help you grow to the next stage, which is, in fact, everything that Peter spoke about. It's about all those activities and systems that you need to have in place and the mindset you need to have in place in order to grow. And also, we've got Christina spoke about in regards to change management. So what activities do you need to implement in order for the team to adopt those practices as they go from one stage to the next? So Way We Do started in 2009, and we didn't start as Way We Do. We started as Keyword Intent Proprietary Limited, and that is still the name of our company today. And it was a do-it-yourself SEO platform. And a few years into that particular business, Dan, who's my co-founder and also life partner, we realised we hate this. We don't want to do this. We don't like what we're doing. We want to change. We want to get out of this. So we created Way We Do. And the reason why we created Way We Do is because we did a turnkey program at a coaching college. It was a group program. And we could see all of these small businesses struggling with the creation of their systems and processes and documentation of their procedures. And I just thought these people are not going to come out with a completed piece of work by the end of this program. So that's the reason why we created Way We Do. And it took a number of years to transition from one business into another. It took about 3 years, and it was really a lot of hard work. But the lesson that we got from that is don't be afraid of changing. And so in this case, we changed from one business to the other. And there are multiple times within your own business or the business that you want to do that you think, oh my goodness, am I doing the right thing? So it's also important to know when to stay the course as well. And also another big lesson is going all in. It's really hard to run multiple businesses. So we decided to just focus on Way We Do, and that was the best decision for us. So when we created the first version of Way We Do, which was our MVP that we launched in 2013, we also created the Way We Do platform and the marketing site. And in February of that year, we launched both of those. And we're just hoping and waiting for people to come in and sign up to our platform, but there was nothing. Like, there was basically crickets. And so we had to start again. We had to throw this marketing website out, which was, from our designer friends, they thought it was brilliant. It's, the amazing new design trends being used within this marketing site, but it just wasn't converting. So we started again, and we relaunched that in May 2013. And at this point, we started to generate trial sign-ups on the platform. So the lesson here is to be prepared to throw everything away and start again. So some quick stats. We have customers from over 20 countries and from over 30 plus industries. They range from small businesses to large enterprise, from profit to non-profit organisations, and their private, public and government organisations. In 2015, we were a finalist in River Pitch. In 2017, a recipient of Ignite Ideas grant, so thank you very much. It was amazing. And by 2019, we're a finalist in the Australian Women in Tech Pitch. So let's look at some challenges that we have faced. And for all of you who are business owners, starting any type of business, let alone a tech startup, it is an emotional roller coaster. And you're going to have these amazing highs where you think, oh my goodness, this is the best business. We've got these amazing opportunities in front of us. And then you go to the other extreme and you experience these very low lows. And you think, oh my God, what am I doing? I gave up my corporate job for this. I'm, paying myself next to nothing. And during that time, as you're running your business, life happens at the same time. And whilst I don't have children, I appreciate other people that have children, I do have other family commitments. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters with intellectual disability. I also have aging parents. 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I am now in remission, so I'm really pleased with that. And there's other things that happen around the world. So there's a government election. So I know when something's happening in the US because the leads start to drop. And it's from things like the US elections, it's from climate events or pandemics that we've experienced or still are experiencing. So during this time, I've learned to live very frugally and just cut out all of my expenses and just run very lean from a personal perspective and also from a business perspective. But for those of you who've just started a business, my lesson here to share with you is to pay yourself first. Always pay yourself something and reward yourself. And to also get into a habit of paying super and tax as well. So you've got a history there. Okay, so one of our strengths is that we were global from day one, and we've been generating leads from every single industry known to man. And the problem is, our strength is also our biggest weakness, and that is we're not experts in every industry. And so we're working with all of these different companies and coming to us with the problems that they want to solve. And then they're asking for different types of features and requirements. And it's like, well, we just don't have the resources or the funding to achieve all of this. So we had to really go back to really look at, well, what problem are we actually solving? Who are we targeting? And so essentially all these leads that were coming in, that we're using up all of our revenue generating resources, our sales team and internal team members to manage all of that, and that is just highly inefficient. The other thing that we've just learned is that a lot of customers, a lot of businesses have not used our type of platform before. So essentially they're first generation customers. And so even a lot of those businesses, they don't know what problems that they're solving themselves. And as Christina said, it's not always about the technology. You need to understand the problem that you're solving and then mapping up the processes and the change that needs to happen. So often that's what we're talking about before we're selling the way we do. So our lesson here is to focus on an ideal customer profile or an initial customer profile. During our journey, we've also have met some amazing people, and so they've been celebrities, they've been unicorn businesses that we've spoken with, so it's been truly amazing. But we've also attracted the weirdos. And so there was one experience where I've had a stalker from New Zealand come over to Brisbane just to meet me. And I'm thinking, well, we've just done an online meeting, you don't have to come to meet me. We've also had a militia organisation sign up to Way We Do, and I just gave them a really high price, hoping that they would go away, and they did, thankfully. But at the same time, we had Homeland Security contact us, and I'm not sure those two things are connected, but who knows. And then we've also have pitched for funding on 2 rounds. We've been unsuccessful both times. And it was just interesting, some of the comments that we've received during some of that. And so we had one guy, one investor said, oh, you know, your photo on LinkedIn makes you look bigger than what you actually are. And I thought, oh my God, did he actually say that? And then I've had another investor say, well, they don't relate to you because you're a woman. And I've had one of our advisors, she's no longer an advisor, tell us that these investors don't want to invest because they think that it's boring as bad shit. So you're going to get these comments and people rubbishing your product along the way, but don't believe them, because I know that our customers need our product, and when they see it and use it, they are excited by it. So one of the things we're really good at is tracking our data. So we've got metrics for all sorts of things, but it's a very manual process, and I probably need some assistance from key data up here who specialise in dashboards and data tracking. And so anyway, we've been generating customers from all over the world, and we discovered with one particular segment that we had a high churn problem. And so with churn, you want to get that under 10% throughout the year, so that's per month, is 0.8% per month. And so one of the strategies that we implemented to reduce that churn was simply increase our price. So we went from a $25 per month product to a $99 per month product, and it just made people think about do I really want this product or not? Because we found that people were just signing up willy-nilly and they were treating it like a paid trial. And so the lesson there is to just test and measure and understand how your customers are using your product or service. Another issue that we've had challenges with is really finding the right people to work in the company. So we did a diagnostic assessment with the Advisory Board Centre, and they said, oh, you know, you've got a people problem. And it's really about finding the right people in the right seats on the bus. And so that's taken a while to first understand the skills. So Peter spoke about the skills that are needed for certain roles, and then finding the right people for those particular roles. And particularly in the last year, we've had so many projects on the go, and too many projects can slow you down and stop you from achieving your particular goals. So another lesson here is to learn to say not yet, and then put things on hold and revisit it down the track. So just to end with, I just want to talk about this company here called UiPath. And so I spoke with a potential advisor from the US recently, and he said, oh, you know, you remind me of this company here, UiPath. And actually it took them over 10 years to make $1 million. And so Dan and myself, as founders of a tech startup, we're constantly comparing ourselves to other companies and feeling like we're not good enough. You know, we're not growing fast enough. And because the pressure is on by investors to be growing at 60 to 100% per year. And so we do have a healthy growth rate, we're just not at 100% per year. So this company here, UiPath, they were founded in 2005. They reached $1 million by 2015. And then from 2015 to now, the revenue is over $600 million US. So we're all on our own path. And to just stick to what you are achieving, it may just take a little bit longer than what you expect. So thank you very much.
Take a seat there, Christina, Peter, and Richard, if you would just come out here and grab a seat, please. Fantastic. Have the other microphone there, thank you for that. Pass that one around. Good. Get it off there. Okay, we're going to, before we do, did Jacqui just demonstrate everything that we heard from the prior speakers in reality, in practicability? That is exactly what our prior speakers have spoken about. And isn't it a shame that Jacqui had to go through and find all of that out for herself when somebody else had already done it? But she did it, and it was a class study of exactly how business works. So Jacqui, thank you very much. That was fantastic. Now I'd just like to invite people from the audience. Do you have any pressing questions for this panel of speakers? No question, because I have one immediately to Jacqui, because you have mentioned your involvement with the government and other entities. And maybe do as a member of Advancing Champion Enterprises, which is supposed to be really technical. And who else is here from ACE today? I don't think. Yeah, we've got other ACEs here today. Of course we have. Tell me a little bit about the support you've had and working with other businesses through ACE, because there's a couple of other businesses here I'd like to be part of that network.
I love ACE. I join most fortnights, not every fortnight, but most fortnights. And it's a great way to develop your speaking skills. And I think as a founder and a leader of a business, speaking is really, really important to increase your not only visibility, but also to have impact in the communities that you serve and to communicate your core messages. So through the ACE group, it's been great just learning different frameworks, like the PIP framework that you can use in different scenarios, and also it's a great way to network with other founders as well.
Thank you. Yeah, well, that's part of the base. We do have a speakers forum. We also have a capital easing program that we're working through at the present time, and I think maybe you should be part of that as well. We had our very first angel pitch forum right here last week with 3 businesses that went in on that first round. I think we worked with around 12 to 15 businesses. Some of them just need a little bit more to get there, but we'll get there. And from the 3 businesses that we got up to pitch are already in negotiation with the investment industry, so we are very excited about that and want to see a lot more come through. Okay? So yes, thank you for that, Jacqui. Now, any other questions? Is there any questions come through online? Is Beth up there? No? Okay, well I'm going to throw some more questions because we've got about 2 minutes left there to throw questions. I'm going to throw my first question at Richard. Richard, where do you plan to take this business? How big do you believe this business can be? Is this an international problem that you're solving, or is this just a local issue you wish to address?
Well, I'm retired now.
Already? Yeah, that was good.
I started this, I did, 2005 I graduated from University of Queensland, and then I started the Facebook, been writing on Facebook since 2009, and now, so I'm just doing it because I enjoy it, but I'm a writer, not a speaker. But I'm just creating awareness, and I hope people can learn something. I just enjoy it. That's my, my passion, and I just want to help people learn.
Thank you for that, Richard. And Peter, you've been doing this for a long time. Changed in the before COVID to now that it is leading to adopt these types of thought patterns more than before.
Well, business definitely has changed during COVID significantly in the way people are approaching business, approaching each other, and in general. But the principles of business are pretty well the same. They haven't changed. The only thing that's changed is that more people now have researched how business works to assist people. So really what I'm doing is saying, look, are you frustrated in what's happening with your business that you can't find a way to resolve those frustrations? Because now that I've discovered them, I'm quite happy that I can show people and give them a free opportunity to talk to me about that.
Thank you, Peter. And Christina, change management, it's always an issue that we have with businesses that they don't know where to go to get help because they don't know what value they're going to get from the help they get. There's nowhere that people can research at times what they're going to get from consultants, advisors or institutes that are going to help them, and yet most businesses do need some external support. You can't go home and ask this you can't ask your staff, they think you're a fool if you're asking them how to run the business. Where do you get help? Certainly it is worthwhile, as we've just heard from Jacqui, to get an advisory board around the business, but that's pretty hard to do when you're in that early stage or in that growth stage. And who do you get on your board? How does the Change Management Institute really help all that?
Well, I'm not the Change Management Institute, but I am a member there. I'm also a member of Project Management Institute, the Australian Human Resource Management Institute, and the Australian Institute of Training and Development. So it's a very, change is a complex topic. It's not a box. And if and that box, if you can imagine that you've got a box, and it can be either a Pandora's box or it can be a box which really gives you a sense of pleasure. So, in order to know how to manage change, I mean, I've been working on this for 25 years, and I'm yourself, or about some new technique that's come out, or mostly these days I study the world. What's the world doing? One of the things that you need to be able to do is to understand what's going on around you. And there are two elements of change. The change that you are driving from inside the business to reform it, to improve it, to transform it. And then you've got changes that are coming at you from outside the organisation. And that's coming through from things like technology and things like pandemics. You've got economic changes, you've got demographic changes, you've got there's 7 or 8 of them that you need to know about. So where do you learn about managing change? You can go along and attend some of the Change Management Institute sessions. However, they don't actually teach it as such. So you're probably best off if you're a CEO, and I've worked with lots of CEOs all around Australia, and they will talk to me once or twice a month. And so a typical conversation will go something like, they'll send me an agenda of some things that they might want to talk about, and then I'll get ready for them. And I'll find all sorts of resources for them. I've either got those resources for them, or I can go and find the exact right resources for them, and send them what I call just-in-time training. So for example, if you're just about to, to kickstart off a new change or something like that, and you think to yourself, Nick, I know that I'm going to be thinking about this, how do I get this right? What are the processes and the procedures and the tools and the templates and how do I structure this thing? How am I going to get people to do what I want to do? And more particularly, who am I in all of this? How do I get to be a great leader in all of this? Am I going to take the approach of being a Genghis Khan? Or am I going to take the approach of being a Mahatma Gandhi? Or is there somewhere in the middle? And it's a very complex thing. So you're best off having, if you're about to undertake significant change, you're best off having somebody that you can tap into who really knows their stuff. And as you can see, my business is business and executive coaching, and we specialise in just this. How do you manage the change? If you can afford it, of course, I would always recommend that you. I don't do consulting anymore as such, so I'm happy to refer you to Peter, because Peter still does do consulting. My consulting days are behind me, but all of that intellectual property that I've had over the years, over these last 25 years as a coach. So the question for you is not where do you go to get information about change management. The question for you is a budgetary one. Do you want to pay a consultant to do a particular job for you, or do you want to learn how to do it yourself, in which case, good luck. Or do you want one more, or do you want someone that you can pick up the telephone to and say, Christina, Jack, John, whatever that person's might be, here's my problem, what do I need to do next? So that's the question that you need to ask. It's the same as, I won't go and, if I want a new piece of technology, I don't go and reinvent it. I don't go to school first to learn how to do it. I look up Google, I go to Capterra, and I have a look and see, okay, who's doing this one of these particular pieces of technology? And then I select one of those. So it's as simple as that. You've only got 3 solutions. Buy somebody to help you, do it yourself, or find somebody who knows what they're doing and who can help you.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have had with us somebody to help you to help yourself and do it yourself, somebody who works in consulting and supporting business, somebody who works in coaching your business. The purpose is to help you understand those different methods of how to go about managing change. We have a question. Last question, because we are going to close up now, yes?
Thank you very much, Ian. Probably a question more for you, Jacqui, but kind of related to all the topics that we covered today. Sure, thank you. I'm interested to understand how much, whether you had to, and how much time you had to allocate yourself for thinking, for innovation, for questioning what you're doing. I find one of the things that we probably don't do enough as entrepreneurs or business owners is take the time to actually think. To your point earlier, Richard, and I thought it was a great point. Innovation comes from really, I believe, at least from time that we're able to spend and we're able to think. When you need time to think, a lot of wonderful things happen because you think about what problem happens to you, what problem we're able to solve. Now, for our own business, I find it really hard to find discipline to set myself all every time. So I'm interested to see if there's a certain amount of time you were setting yourself per week, a month, or year.
So, Jacqui, over to you.
Good question. For us, we're working with change and innovation every single day, and it's just part of our organisation. So we're driving new features for our platform. We're first of all listening to our customers, asking what they want. We're trying to understand their business and the problems that they're solving. We're also identifying who is our ICP, what is the problem that we need to solve, and then we go about implementing not only changes in our software platform, but also the way that we deliver it to our clients. So through the sales channels, the way that we market, the way that we support our customers. So, and it's just part and parcel of what we do on a day-to-day basis. I know that it is challenging when you're creating a product and you're trying to do day-to-day work at the same time, and yeah, it's hard to be in those two motions at the same time. We don't always do it successfully, but other times we do. So, but we're always incrementally improving. So how we get better and more efficient and to ensure that what we deliver is world-class and meets those particular objectives.
Thank you so much for that. Is that working? Doesn't matter whether it's working or not because you can hear me. Please put your hands together again for this esteemed panel. We've run out of time. Has everybody enjoyed themselves and learned something today? Fantastic, because we've now got some lunch thanks to TAFE Small Business Solutions and companies standing over there waiting to have everybody grab a piece of pizza. How's that? Fantastic. Thank you everybody for coming today. Thank you everybody on Zoom. And thank you everybody for our speakers. Have a great day. Yeah.